What's up, guys? This is Dustin and
Karina. Hi, guys.
from Dustin's Travels, and today we're going to talk about Merida, Mexico. Traveling to Merida, Mexico. All you need to know, why you should go there, why it's an amazing place, what to do there, how to get there, how to what to see when you're there. So we're very, very excited. We're here in our new studio setup as well. We got the map, the world map behind us. We got the drone here, the GoPro hiding behind her head over there. So fun little background setup that we have for you guys here. So
low-key, it's our desk that we never use and just decided to give it a new purpose and bring it back to life.
It was an improv thing we did about 30 minutes ago to get it all set up. So thank you guys for joining us. We are also live on Facebook and Instagram, and then a copy of this video is going to be on YouTube and also our podcast, so you might be listening on one of those different things. But let's get right to it, okay? So, first of all, where is Merida, Mexico?
So, Merida, Mexico is at the very bottom, at the very south of the country. I have a little map here for you guys. It's right here.
So, it's near Cancun on the eastern side of Mexico, which is one of the safer sides of Mexico.
It's
correct?
very safe. You know, there's this impression, and of course it's based on facts, that Mexico is a dangerous country, and it can be in various places, but the southern tip of the country is very safe because it's very valuable for tourism, and especially Merida, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more later on, being such a big expat community, a lot of Europeans, a lot of Americans, it's a very, very safe city.
Yeah, so that's where it is. It's on the eastern side, very close to Cancun, very near the center of the Mayan culture, the ancient Mayan culture, which is one of the most historical, important cultures of all time. So let's talk about why people should visit Merida, Mexico. And we were looking at different places to travel to be a digital nomad, and Merida popped up as this, something kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, you know, for those of you who live in the U.S., it's not super far away. And it's such an enchanting little town. It's pretty small, especially for us. We come from L.A. It's a big, huge city. But Merida has as much to offer as LA does, even though it's so small, and it's really cozy, but it has a lot of things to do, and it's relatively close, especially if you're in California. It's pretty close. It's like a 4 or 5 hour flight. Totally doable. Even just for a weekend, check it out. It's really, really charming.
So there's a few things that we really, really liked about Merida. First of all, number one, it's safe, and you can't say that about necessarily a lot of countries in a lot of cities in Mexico or Latin America. It's a very, very, very safe city. We had been in Mexico City the week before, and we were staying in the Zocalo region, which is like the downtown, and you got the vibe once it started becoming nighttime to kind of clear out or get in a crowded area or whatever. But in Merida, even some of the side streets they were completely abandoned, but they were super safe. And our host even told us, it's very safe here. You don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah, in Mexico City, that actually, just to go back to the Mexico City thing, Dustin ended up booking our Airbnb, and he booked close to Tepito. And Tepito's a part of town that is very known for being a pretty violent, a pretty unsafe part of town in Mexico City. So we would be out at night and then go back home, and it was just it was a ghost town. People were not seen around. They were not walking the streets, and we were coming from the more historical sites, the more happening places, and as soon as we got to our Airbnb area, it was just shut down. And Merida's not like that at all. And another thing about Merida, too, is that it has nice weather year-round. It's warm, it's nice, you can go without sweater, and walkable at night.
Yeah, well, so when we were driving into Merida, it was, into our Airbnb, it was, a lot of isolated streets, so I got a little bit worried. But, yeah, we soon found out, you can easily walk the streets at night. Very, very safe thing to do. In terms of weather, I know you're saying year-round, but I think, from what I've heard, it's actually super hot in the summer.
Yeah, that's true.
They actually abandon the city in the summer. They all go to the beach, which is only about 30, 40 minutes away. So I think the best time to visit Merida actually is probably going to be in the wintertime. We were there in November, and the weather was pristine, perfect. But we did hear a lot of stories how it got up to 120, maybe even more with humidity. in the summertime.
I guess I just prefer summer and beaches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, especially in the fall, and I guess maybe like the winter, it has very nice weather, and you can be outside with a sweater for sure.
Yeah.
Even in November, December.
Yeah, we went in around mid-November, and it was just, I think it was the best weather, perfect weather. So another second reason to go is it's super, and I was blown away how cultural it was there. So for a small city, they take a lot of pride in their city and their culture, and they have a lot of cultural events that go on there.
Yeah, and that is, I think that to me attracts me out of any place. The more historical and cultural activities that you can do, like you just immerse yourself in a different culture, and I find that very charming and very interesting and very inviting, you know, when they showcase, when they're proud of their culture and they want to show it to the world. And I think that's part of the reason why we fell in love with Merida, because they have so much to offer. Even though it's a small city, every day there's something to do, something to see, which is wonderful, especially for tourists.
Yeah, so culturally speaking, music was a huge scene there. I was really shocked by that. We've been to New Orleans, and it reminded me of New Orleans, but maybe more of a Latin flavor rather than a jazz flavor, although they did have a lot of jazz music in Merida. But every night they've got bars and restaurants that are playing live bands, live music, a lot of salsa music, which is not actually very common in Mexico. Salsa is not a common thing. The Mexicans don't dance salsa very well, unlike the stereotype might think. But they had it all over, and it was a lot of fun to go to those events. They also have small little parks everywhere, and it's so much fun to go every week. Like one park has, so like Thursday, we'll get into that later, but Thursday nights there's one park that everybody goes to. They listen to live music, they dance, they hang out. Then Tuesday night's a different park, they go dance and they hang out.
Right.
So they really pay attention to the quality of life and the culture there.
Right. They have historical tours. They also have a local university that puts on cultural shows from time to time. I believe they have 2 theaters. So they have plays and, musicals and things like that. And I think we missed 1 or 2 shows the time period that we were there. So there's always something going on for entertainment at night, during the day. And I feel like most people know what's going on. Oh, you could go here for this. People know because it's been part of their culture. It's been part of the city's events probably for years. So people will probably be able to give you a good idea of where to go, what to see. Yeah, exactly.
And they have this thing called, so there's an ancient Mayan game called Poke the Poke, which is, it's very cool if you ever get to watch it in person. It's basically, they have to use their hip to hit a ball into this hole, and it was invented over 4,000 years ago. And they actually on Saturday nights near the main plaza in Merida, they'll actually play it for about an hour. So you can go there and watch it, and they do all the beginning opening ceremonies. They come around with the smoke, they do the rituals, and then they play the game. So it literally felt like I was going back in time. Sometimes you see things or you wonder, oh, what would it be like to go back in history and watch this or visit this? And being able to watch that game for an hour, was one of the few times in my life I felt like I was going back thousands of years to watch this.
Yeah, it's really special. And something really nice that they talked about was that this game was actually forbidden after the Spaniards came over to Mexico, because it was seen as a ritual, practices from the devil worshipping stuff. Of course, that was not, what it was for them. It was a sacred game. And it was lost to time and history. Like they say that during the speech, this game was lost to oblivion, and now we've recovered it from history. It was practiced secretly by the indigenous people. It was kept alive outside of the cities where the Spaniards wouldn't get involved. So they've been slowly recovering the game, and they were kind of like calling on their ancestors to guide them and to give them the strength and guide the game. So even though it's just kind of like a game, at the same time it's very, very meaningful for the locals because it's part of their heritage.
Yep.
And it's really beautiful to watch.
And then another cultural thing to do in Merida is the night Legends Tour. And I think they have it every night. And we sort of stumbled into it, but it was amazing. The amount of effort they put in to kind of tell different stories about the town, but they were sort of ghost stories. but they really acted it out. They put on costumes. They came around, took you to these like underground tunnels where, you know, they used to escape the Spaniards from, that are sort of hidden in parking lots just randomly. They really dress up, they scare you, they do all kinds of things. They really envelop you in the experience, and they really go the extra mile. It was really a lot of fun, not just something you go and just hang out.
Right.
And it's free.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the local government.
Exactly, and that's something that you don't really see all the time. Usually you have to pay to go on these tours. We went on a Legends tour in Mexico City, but there's no match. They really get into character. They're really, and then another thing that they did that was I've never seen is that they involved the audience. Mm-hmm. So they actually had Dustin play a part. They pull in like different people, have them talk, participate. So that was really engaging, very dynamic. It was probably like a group of 30, 40 people following the crowd.
Oh, at least. Yeah, definitely.
And another interesting thing is that they actually had like a security guard to make sure that the people going on the tour were safe in terms of like traffic and crossing streets.
Yeah.
And yeah, they show you parts of the city that otherwise you wouldn't really know what they were. So they show you the history and the places in a very fun and dynamic way.
Yes. And so the weekend is really when Merida comes alive. It's so much fun on the weekends because during the week it's fun too, but on the weekend it's like everything comes alive because everything is sort of centralized downtown, and it's very walkable. So that's probably the third thing is that or fourth thing, I don't know what we're on. It's very walkable. So all the parks, all the events are downtown. You can walk to each one within about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's what kind of makes it fun. Again, it has that New Orleans vibe, where in New Orleans you can sort of walk from jazz bar to jazz bar and just sort of bar hop. In Merida as well, you can walk from this park to see this event. Everybody is there. It's just this fun, social event vibe that everybody's there. And it's super easy to walk around. You don't need a car when you go to Merida at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And then last but not least, of course, it's not very expensive at all. Mexico in general is very cheap. The US dollar goes very far. And Merida, same deal. Prices, I would say, are about 1/2 to 1/3 of what you might pay in Los Angeles for food and things like that. Mm-hmm. We even stayed at a massive Airbnb, and they were actually selling it. We asked what the cost was, and you can get that massive, huge Airbnb with like 3 bedrooms, a small swimming pool, a patio, an outdoor thing. There's a video of it on our YouTube channel. The price of that was a little over half of what we pay for like a small 2-bedroom condo in Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly. So, and for me, you know, I'm a history nerd. I love history, and what I really enjoyed was, even though it's like a modern house and it has all these amenities, it was actually a colonial house. Mm-hmm. So it has those big, tall windows. A lot of homes, especially in downtown Merida, they're colonial homes that date back to, you know, the time of the Spaniards. So you can really like get that feel for the city, and you can stay in these beautiful colonial homes. They have lots of Airbnbs. And it's something interesting because a lot of homes are abandoned. Some people haven't been in the city for a long time, and these houses just kind of like get forgotten, and the government can't intervene. Also, due to the fact that there's a lot of expats, real estate is going up. So that's another interesting thing. But in addition to that, remember that other street? There's another main street, another main part of town. It's called Paseo De Montejo. And that's more like French style homes, and really, really cool part of town. That's like the more bougie place. But it's just as charming as downtown.
It's not quite in downtown. It's about a 15, maybe 20-minute walk away from downtown. Paseo de
Montejo.
Montejo, exactly. Yeah. As Karina said, there is a large expat community in Merida. So a lot of people speak English. If that's your thing and you want to be able to speak English. I think it's nicer to kind of immerse yourself in the culture, try to figure out the Spanish. You should have a little base of Spanish if you're going to go. But there's people that speak English if you want to get around that way.
And I was actually surprised how multicultural Merida is, because not only do you hear Spanish, of course, but you also hear Maya, which is the native language, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to hear people speaking their native language. You know, even though it's been 500 years since the Spaniards came to Mexico. Like they've still preserved part of their identity, and they still speak that language. But in addition to Spanish, Maya, you can also hear German. I heard a lot of German, a lot of French, of course, English. So it's a very diverse and multicultural city for sure.
Awesome. So let's go a little bit more in depth on what to do. We did touch on it, but we want to go a little more in depth. So again, there's the Poke the Poke game.
And
that's on Saturday nights in the main plaza, Zocalo Plaza, the main plaza. Thursday nights, you want to go to St. Lucia Park. And again, everybody comes to that park. They've got a lot of restaurants. They're very, very good restaurants. And they have a live band playing, music. You can dance. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. And in Spanish, Santa Lucia. Because if you say St. Lucia, they're not going to know what you're talking about. Santa Lucia.
Santa Lucia. And then Santiago Park is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Make sure you get there early because we got there around 10 and it had already been shut down. It just got finished. So make sure you get there on time. These things last like an hour, 2 hours in the park. So make sure you go on time to those. Mm-hmm. Again, Poke the Poke and also the Night Legend Tour. Make sure you do that stuff, okay? Let's talk about where to eat. Mm-hmm. Our favorite place was Apoalo, Apoalo, in St. Lucia Park. If you can get there early, you can eat at an amazing... All the restaurants there are great, by the way. So St. Lucia Park, there's restaurants where there's a bunch of them. They're amazing. And a lot of them have outdoor seating. So if you get there on the Thursday night, go sit outside and you could watch the music festival while you're sitting outside and eating. And it's just like, it would be pristine. The food was some of the best. The drinks, the cocktails were amazing. Some of the best I've had anywhere in the world. And they're really, really good. Specifically, I love the... I can't pronounce that.
Oaxaqueña.
Oaxaquena drink. It was really good, but you really can't go wrong with any of the cocktails. Some of the other restaurants that are well known there, we like El Trapiche, Chaya Maya. Chaya Maya, they're making fresh tortillas. There's a lady making fresh tortillas there, and you just watch her
and you'll see it if you go to Merida, because it's very, I guess, even though it's pretty traditional, very good, it's also very touristy, so you'll definitely see a line. It has its charm because they're dressed in traditional clothes, and you'll definitely see the lady making the tortillas. So it's a really cute restaurant.
Yeah. Raffaello's is good for pizza, and that they have a guy, I think he's from Italy, and he's very strict, almost like the soup Nazi, but for Italian pizza. So it's funny because anywhere you go, there's salsa to eat, but if there's no salsa at this place. So if you ask for salsa, I've heard he gets mad at you because he's like, you don't eat pizza with salsa. But maybe ask him and see how he reacts. That'd be fun. Pueblo Pibil, we heard about Oliva La Trato, and the Gastronomy Museum also has some good food as well. Music spots. So we talked about music earlier. Again, it's like a New Orleans of Mexico. I was blown away by how musical the scene is in Merida. Mm-hmm. And here's a couple. There, you go walk around and just see it everywhere. Live bands everywhere. You can have dinner and live bands everywhere. Here's a few ones that we really liked. El Mercado 60 was kind of like Italy. So think Italy where you go in and there's different restaurants you can eat at. This was El Mercado 60, except it's Italy for Mexican food. And then they have live band playing. So they're playing salsa music and merengue, and you can dance.
Yeah, it's really fun too. Just even for people watching, it's worth going.
Yeah, definitely experiencing the culture there. El Negrita?
La Negrita.
La Negrita. Also a fun place. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so La Negrita is also a great spot for salsa dancing. They have a live band. It's mostly a bar, but they do have food. It's not like the greatest food. There's better options. But you can grab a snack there, a bite, and have your drink and listen to great music, dance, or watch people dancing. And apparently it's also a very old colonial home. Mm-hmm. So it's just a fun place to check out for sure.
Next right.
Salbay, and this is like a weird spelling. It's Dzalbay, Salbay. It's in a corner, and they also have live music every night.
And that's not, you don't as much dance at that place, but they have live music, like they have jazz and a lot of jazz and some Latin music as well.
Yeah,
really fun. And then St. Lucia Park, which we mentioned on Thursdays, and then La Mezcaleria. That's the one we were there for just a hot second. It was really crowded, right?
Yeah. Super touristy, very crowded, but apparently very fun, and they have really good drinks there too. It was just too crowded for us, and it was like midnight, so we're like, hey, let's just check it out and then bounce. But
we're married, we're not single anymore. But if you're single, check it out.
That's the place to go. Lots of expats there.
Okay, let's talk about when. Well, we talked about when to go. Again, I think wintertime's a little bit better. We know some people in Merida, they say in the summertime they just leave and go to the beach. Which is another reason why Merida is great, because it's close to the beach, and a lot of people in Merida actually have beach homes, so that they will go and kind of mix time between the city and the beach. Let's talk about what to do outside of Merida. So this is a whole world in and of itself. We went to this place called Mayapan, which is considered probably the third most important Mayan ruin after Chichen Itza and Uxmal. We went to Mayapan, and I really loved Mayapan because we've been to Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza is very, very crowded, and you can't go on the pyramid. You can't walk on it. Mayapan, there was no joke, like 20 people, and that's not an exaggeration, and we were allowed to walk up on the pyramid, which was amazing. So you could really feel the place more, walk around the place more, be at peace more, and go on the pyramid and climb up it. It was really, really fun.
Right, exactly. So they have all kinds of tours for historical places, ancient ruins around the Yucatan Peninsula. And they even have tours to take you all the way to Cancun or all the way to Chichen Itza. But of course, there's these more local trips that are totally worth it. So yeah, like you said, I think Uxmal, Uxmal, is probably the more popular one to go to. It's a little bit more pricey, and they don't let you climb up the pyramids.
And it's a bigger pyramid.
But it is bigger, yeah. But Mayapan is just as beautiful, and it's emptier, less people, so you can enjoy it a little bit better, and you can definitely go up the stairs, or the pyramid. And that in and of itself is a whole experience, to be able to go up these giant structures that have been around for thousands of years. It's really special to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you can. So if we were there longer, we would have done a day trip to Uxmal as well. We just happened to pick Mayapan. You can also visit Chichen Itza from Merida. You can do a day trip to Chichen Itza. So again, if you have time there, definitely go do that. You do want to. We were saying Mayapan was nicer because it's less crowded, but Chichen Itza you have to see. So put that on your list if you're going to go as well. And then also they have cenotes there. Cenotes are an absolute must-do if you visit the Yucatan region. Yucatan region is Cancun, Merida, that area. You have to visit it. They are basically giant holes in the ground, and a lot of them have water in them. And you can go in there, you can swim, and they've been there formed for millions and millions of years. And do you want to talk about some of the history that the Mayans believed and utilized?
So like you said, cenotes are these amazing kind of like underground pools. You can swim in them, and they're very historical too, because for the Mayans, for the Mayan civilization, it was they saw it kind of like as the gateway to the underworld. It was the place of gods, of the underworld gods. And I believe they found even like skulls and, not bodies, I guess, but like skulls and remains of people who were actually sacrificed at these sites. So, I mean, that's kind of like dark history, but at the same time, it's really cool because it's so historical and it was revered places for this ancient civilization. And
when we went there, we felt a lot of like just positive energy there. That it's a place where you can go pray, where you're really at one with Earth. You're in underground, in the water, like connected with Mother Earth. So it's really kind of spiritual place you can be as well. Right. So how do you do that? They have tours, like just walk to the downtown square of Merida, you'll see them, and they go almost every day, but you can do a lot of combinations like Mayapan and cenotes. We did a Mayapan and 3 cenotes tour. There's also Uxmal and cenotes. So there's different tour packages that you can kind of combine together. And again, it's very inexpensive, probably $40-50 per person for the whole day or something like that.
Right, exactly. And they include your food. Some of them include the entrances. So the one we went to included the entrance for the cenotes, and it was one kind of like big area, national park-ish type of place with 3 cenotes in that area. So we were able to bike all of them around. Some other places take you to different sites of the cenotes. So it's really your preference, but I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them because they're just all so beautiful, and it's one of the best ways to spend your day, your weekend in nature and disconnect.
And another thing to go, we didn't get to go, unfortunately, was the Chocolate Museum. I think it'd be cool. They have a little add-on to some of the tours to also go to the Chocolate Museum. I think it'd be cool.
He has a sweet tooth, so it's a little bit upset that we couldn't do that one.
All right, so a few more touch-up things. How to get to Merida. It's very easy. You can take direct flights. We flew in from Mexico City to Merida. I think Miami might fly direct. I don't know. I'm speculating, but there's a lot of like just quick flights.
It is supposed to be an international airport.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy to get there. It's not crazy. Once you get in there, it's a 15-minute Uber ride to the downtown area. Again, very safe, very easy. A few bucks for an Uber. You can also get a cab if you want to get there. And then lastly, how to get around. We talked about it, but it's very walkable. I do not think you need to rent a car if you're going to Merida, unless you really want to drive around the region. But just walk around Merida and then take day tours out if you want to go explore. I think that's probably the best way. Anything else?
I think we've covered pretty much everything. I mean, it's definitely one of the cutest places to check out in Mexico. It has a lot to offer. Not too far away, cheap. It has everything that you can want for a quick getaway. Yeah, so we highly recommend you go to Merida, Mexico. I was blown away by it. It's one of my top 10 favorite cities in the entire world, and I did not expect it would be like that. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Also leave a comment if you've been to Merida, or if this video convinced you to go to Merida, please please let us know in the comment section below. Also share this with all your family and friends. And if you're listening on the podcast, please subscribe to our podcast and give us a 5-star review. Thank you so much for listening, watching, exploring, and all that stuff with us. We appreciate it. Follow us on Instagram at Dustin's Travels, and we will see you guys later. Adios.